Welcome back, thanks for tuning in. In my last video, I put together what you see at the top of the screen there. Those are two bench dog style clamps, and their purpose is obviously quite straightforward. Whenever I take my mini workbench to a job site, they are quick and simple ways of holding down something I need to cut. Just like this here, I just drop them in, give them a quick tap on the top, and holds it down, do the cutting, and then just as easily give them a quick tap on the bottom, and they pop, and again, like something fast, simple, and effective. What I'm going to make here today is something quite a bit more elaborate. I want to, again, make a clamping system, but this is not something I want to put together for a job site. This is for larger projects I'm going to be working on here in the shop. But then again, you never really know. I might like using it for other things as well. What I'm going to make is a wooden style fixture plate. It's going to be a rectangular plate like this. It's going to have holes drilled in it in a grid pattern, and that's going to match holes that are going to be in the top of my mini workbench. And I'm going to have dowel pegs that are, actually for all intents and purposes, they are dowel pegs. They're going to fit on the top of these, and they're going to fit into the holes, and I'll be able to hold that plate in any number of positions, so that whatever project I'm working on, depending on whether it's large, small, or whatever, it'll be held firmly in place while I work on it. Currently what I use is my large bench vise, and I have to do a little bit of elaborate fiddling with that so I don't end up marring the wood I'm working on. You'll see that a little bit later on, because I actually need to use that to help put this together. But yeah, I want something a little bit more delicate and also a little bit more firm. There you go. That's what it's going to look like, with a whole pile of holes, and the plate that you see that's going to act as part of the clamping system on the front is going to be dowel pegged in place. Now this is an offcut that I just made actually a few moments ago, and what I'm going to do here, because when I made the mini workbench initially, I wasn't really planning on I didn't really care where the holes were, as long as there were enough holes to do what I wanted to do. So they're not exactly accurate. They're quite close, within maybe a 16th or a 32nd of an inch where they need to be. But this has to be precise, because there are going to be a number of holes. There's going to be 4, as you can see the pattern there, and then there's going to be a row of another 4. And if I put a dowel peg in any of those holes, it has to match up exactly with the holes, or it won't work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first drop in that, so it is now matched with that particular hole. I'm going to clamp this in place, make sure it's square, of course, and then what I'm going to do on top of that is flip this over, and I'm going to use the drill bit that I used to make these holes, and I'm going to mark on the bottom of this faceplate, or this scrap piece of wood, which is going to be my test for what the faceplate is going to look like. And then I'll mark those holes, and then of course I'll use my mill to drill them out, and I will bring it back over here, double check that everything is working and fitting properly, and then of course move on to using it to actually drill the holes in the faceplate itself. A little bit more work than I usually like to do for these sorts of projects, but this does have to be quite accurate, and if it's not, it won't work, and then of course it won't do what it needs to do. So there you go, that fits. So that's my test hole, it's square, and then I'm going to flip this over and pound in a couple of, apparently I was being over cautious, making sure it's really square, and I was using another square as well. I mean, sometimes set squares can be a little off, but that one's pretty good. I haven't really had any issues with it, but double checking never hurts. So I'm going to set this all up here to pound these holes in. Then I realized that this is a terrible angle for you to see what's going on, and decided to change the workbench into a better position here in a second, so you can actually see what I'm doing. So a couple quick taps, then I give it a bit of a turn. So what'll happen is, instead of, these are really large drill bits, so there's a bit of a flat edge on the bottom, and by turning it, it turns it into a little bit of a round hole, and it's easier for me to make sure that I end up drilling exactly where I want to. So there you go, all marked out. You can see it in a second. Pop this off, and there you go. Those are the holes that are going to go, but again, just to make sure that everything is as accurate as possible, I pop this back into place, and you can see I make an awful lot of uses of offcuts, because that's all these are. There's a 3/4 inch one at the back just to make sure that the travel distance for my mill is sufficient for drilling these holes, and then there's another 1/2 inch piece of plywood there, and that's purposes so I don't drill into this. Well, this is actually a nice little fixture I have here. I really do like clamping this down into my mill here, and it makes it really easy to cut repetitive holes. So I get actually really a lot of use out of it. So there you go. This is going to be hole number 2, and then it's going to be rinse and repeat. I'm going to drill the other 2 more holes, and then after that I'm going to take this plate over to the mini workbench, and well, I have to make sure this fits, so I'm going to test it for all the holes that are on the mini workbench, well, each row, and make sure that everything fits. And for the moment, I'm using, well, the bench dogs that I made in the last video. What I will do for this, I'll probably do it off camera, is drill some dowel pegs for this, which is just quick round. I'm going to use the same hardwood dowels that I'm using there. And then, yeah, they just need to hold into place. So there you go. Pop that in there. Pop that one in there. And then the important thing, of course, besides fitting, is it's square. And give it a quick turn here. And yeah, you see that it's nice and square. There is a bit of movement because I made it a little loose. I think there's about a 32nd of an inch of free play there. But that's kind of important and not really going to come into any issues with holding this down, because it will self-adjust, which I found as I was putting this together. So this is the faceplate itself, and this one here is the same hole as the first hole in the test piece. And fortunately, because this is symmetrical this way, I can just flip that over and drill the other one, because the row will be the same for all 4 in the 2 outside rows, and that's all there is to that. And then I decided the best thing to do would be to set this up so that it has 4 columns, and the easy way of doing that was to just divide that in 1/3. So there you go. This is the 2 middle holes. So once I set that one up, it's a simple matter of flipping it, and I can do that as well. Now put it back into the original position, double checking that it fit, of course, and then I'm going to move the bed of the mill over to for the second hole, and then of course it's just a matter of again, rinse and repeat. So for all 16 holes, this is, like I said, it worked really quite well. This template here is proving out to be very, very handy for these sorts of things. You're going to see it probably in a number more videos coming along. And then, of course, now that I know how much to move it by, I have to make sure, of course, I move it exactly the same amount for the 2 middle holes. And yeah, it's once I got it set up, it went by quite quickly. It didn't take it very long, because I know exactly how much to move it by. So once it's done, I just have to, as you see here, this is at 2 times speed, of course, but it's not really taking that long to drill the holes. And then, of course, I'm not going to bother showing you the other set on the other side. And if I had, originally when I made the mini workbench, had this in mind, I would have drilled those holes so that all I had to do was flip this, and I could have done it with half the amount of work, but it didn't really take that long, so it doesn't really matter that much, but I thought I'd mention it. There you go. That's the fixture plate, and like I said, it's designed so that any of those holes will match up any of the holes on the workbench, and I can position this anywhere I want on it. It gives me a lot of space for holding various projects. Now the thing is, the part I haven't talked about yet, and the part that's actually not going to be in this video because this is only part 1, is the other half of this. It's going to be obviously on the other side of this clamping system, and it's going to have a cam set up so that I can hold down whatever project I want to hold, and this is going to take up the rest of the slack, because obviously there's I think 1.25 inch gap between those holes, so you can't obviously you can't hold anything too quickly and too easily without a nice cam system on it. So this is my current system for holding down something that's fairly delicate. Obviously I can't clamp it into the bench vise because it will mar the wood very, very much and very easily because it is actually a good solid clamp. But the thing is, it's this is my work. Like I said, my workaround. It's something that doesn't take too long to set up, and I've been using it to make a lot of the drawers you see in that workstation behind all where I'm filming here. And I've never really had any issues with it, but I think this is going to be a much better system for working with different size projects. So we'll see how it goes. So I marked where the holes are. I'm going to do 3 holes. It's not really a big deal. This is going to fit on here. I'm going to use my old dowel drill jig you can see there. It was actually the right size. Didn't have to make anything new. Of course, I have a corner clamp here. It's going to hold it in place. And yeah, it's quick and simple. I'm going to pound in some dowels, and I'm going to use the dowels themselves as part of the clamping. Once I have this here, I'm going to drill the first one, then I'm going to tap in the dowel for it, and it's going to, like I said, hold that in place while I do the other 2. That's it. Like I said, very straightforward. I probably should have left this part out because, again, you've seen me set dowels a very large number of times, and as you can see, this video is getting quite long. But I thought I would put it in here because it is, well, it's important to holding this. This is going to be the plate that's going to be perpendicular to the workbench, and that is part of what's going to hold everything in place. So, as I said, it is important. I have a couple of dowels left over. I didn't have to actually make any new ones for this, so they're going to tap that in there. And yeah, it's well, you've seen my videos for doing joint strength tests, and dowels are very strong. There are a few that are the ones I use that are more robust, but this is more than strong enough for this kind of project. There you go, a couple quick taps. Take that corner clamp off, and yeah, quick and easy. I will now, of course, glue that in place. The other thing I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to, well, once this cures, I'm going to cut the little bit of dowels that are going to stick up off, sand everything down, and I decided to put a coat of oil on this to protect it. I haven't done that to, as you can see on the left there, to my bench dog clamps. The reason I haven't done those yet is I'm not entirely sure they're not going to be modified yet. Like I said, they're working really well, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to work for those for a little bit more, and then I'll, again, give them a coat of oil. If you see my little mallet there, it is very protective for working with wood. It's just boiled linseed oil. You can see it up in the upper left-hand corner there. I find it is, well, more than what I need. I just need to make sure that I'm not going to damage any of the wood. And like I said, that's all I care about, really, to tell you the truth. And I also like the look of it, so I guess that's part of it. You never know. Anyway, so I'm going to pound these in. And one more to go. And then that's it. This is the end of the first half. I am going to, well, there are a couple options for the cams for making this, the other half of this clamping system. I'm going to fiddle with a few. This is, like I said, initially intended to be a 2-part video. Obviously, this part is very straightforward for what it needs to be and how it works. But this next one can be quite variable. There are a number of ways of doing this. Anything from a cam system to simply a wedge that you can tap in and tap out. Both work really quite well, so I'm going to fiddle with that and try that out for you. So there you go. This is now sanded, finished. Not really finished. I mean, I put some oil on it, and there you go. I mean, it looks nice, and it is, well, it's symmetrical, which is the important bit. And I'm going to show you a few holes here. I'm going to show you a few positions. These I made off camera, as I said. They're just simple dowels. And I noticed that this is not really that important as far as how it's going to, like, it doesn't need to set up square is what I'm trying to say. I think it needs to be moderately square. As it turns out, it's pretty square. But the thing is, because there's going to be at least 2 toggle camshaft style toggles at the other end, any kind of slack or wiggle in that is going to be taken up on the other end. So anyway, there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Leave comments, let me know what you think about all this. Sorry this video went on so long, but there's enough detail there that I wanted to make sure I got all of it in. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.